All right, guys. Sorry I'm not here today. Just wanted to go over a few things with you, and I thought it would be easier to do it this way. So first off, the learning objective today, we're not going to fully reach it because I'm not there to go over things with you, but to understand the difference between a renewable and a non-renewable resource, which is something that you should have been exposed to in the past, and hopefully you have an idea about. But I think that we'll find that it's not so cut and dry as we might think. And then a really important concept going forward is this idea of sustainability. And we will talk more about that when I return. But that's what we're going to kind of start transitioning to. I will say that I think this unit we're coming into, which is material resources and energy resources, is probably the most important thing that we'll talk about this year, as far as it affects everything that we do. As you get older and grow into your voting, you are going to be voting on issues that pertain directly to this very thing. And so there's some real importance to what we'll be discussing, and I hope you are aware of that. And then, so for today, I'm going to go over the warm up with you. The best you can do on the warm up is a 3 because question number 4, I have to go and hand grade. Quiz retakes, really important. You have today until the end of the week next week to complete your retake. I have made a video with all the answers posted in there. So I'll show you where you can see that in just a moment. I should have shared back to you your scores. You should have gotten an email from me yesterday morning that shared your score so you can see what you got right, what you got wrong, and you can see the correct answer. And then you can use the video to get a better explanation of why it is what it is. You guys are on your own today, and then we'll go over it next time. Are going to do this resources introduction, this renewable, non renewable sort. I'll go through that with you in a moment. And then I'm going to have you take some notes as I dictate them to you as I'm going through here. And then you'll have some time to work on your city project slides. Okay. And then don't forget your city climate project will be due on the 10th. Next class, I will spend some time going over how you'll make your video. And it'll be a lot like what I'm doing right now, where you're going to show your screen and just talk about what you are showing. Okay. So coming over here to the warm up. So on January 16th of this year, the temperature at DIA went from negative 19 to 38 degrees over just a period of a few hours. And the question is, what two things from here led to that? And so I do give you a hint which factors may change. And so looking at latitude, Denver's latitude is set. It is not changing, and it is not going to lead to that kind of a temperature change over a few hours. Wind direction, however, is. And so wind direction is one of the correct answers. And so generally speaking, if winds are out of the north, it usually brings a colder wind. If winds are out of the south, it brings a warmer wind. In the case of Denver, the wind is actually out of a different direction, and I'll explain in a moment what led to that big change of 57 degrees. Proximity to water, we are nowhere near the water, and we're not getting any closer to the water. That's not changing, so that is not the answer. Vegetation has very little impact on climate, so that's not the answer. Elevation is set. We're not getting any higher or lower. So that is not the answer. And ocean currents, again, are far away and not going to have any impact. So the only one left is topography. And this one, in conjunction with the wind direction, is what led to that big change. So in the case of Denver, the wind direction was out of the west. And so when it comes down the mountains, the air gets compressed. And when the air gets compressed, that leads to heating. It is the opposite of air rising. When air sinks down and gets squished together, it actually warms up. And this is a part of what we call our Chinook winds. And so the answer was wind direction and topography. So as you do your city climate project, you should look at the wind direction for your city, look at the surroundings, and try to figure out if what wind direction is going to have an impact on your city. Okay. Coming over here, two cities in Alaska. You're told that Juneau is further to the south and on the coast, and then Fairbanks is inland and further north. The latitude isn't going to have a big role here because we're talking about Alaska. Both locations are pretty far north. So what's really going to have an impact here is that proximity to the water. And the proximity to the water is going to have a moderating effect on temperature, and it's going to lead to higher precipitation. And so if I look at city A over here, it does have a more moderate temperature, doesn't get nearly as cold. This goes down to -20. This one only down to -5. The high temperatures are similar. This one gets to about 12 and this one gets to about 18. So not a huge difference there, but definitely a much more moderate climate and greater precipitation than we see here. This one is the one on the coast. This is Juneau, and this is the one inland, Fairbanks. Okay. Then we come over here. Again, two cities in Florida. So latitude not going to play a huge role. Although if you look at this one, the difference here from -20 to close to 20, that is about a 40-degree Celsius difference. And if I come down over here, the difference between 15 and maybe 28 or so, a much smaller difference. So again, latitude, the further you are from the equator, the greater the range in temperature. And we see that here. And then we look at these two cities. Precipitation-wise, not much of a difference between them, but temperature-wise, a much more moderate temperature here than we see here. This one is Miami, and this one is Orlando, further inland. So then we get to this one right here, and this is really an important question. And so however you answer this, I was looking for what things that humans use are completely vital. We can't do without. And so I'm hoping at this point you have listed 5, and I want you to take a little time and in your table group, talk to each other and talk about what things you put and what things maybe are in common, and then defend your answers for what things you put. And I think there are several that should stand out, things that we cannot live without. So, for example, water. We can't live without water. Water is a vital resource for many different things. Excuse me. So that would be one that I would say we could all agree on. What I would like you to do is take out a piece of paper and you are going to record a bunch of different things today, and part of it's going to go into the notes, but record the 5 things that your group deems most vital to our way of living or just living in general. What things do we have to have that we cannot live without? Materials or energy? What things do we have to have? Okay, I think it's really critical that we spend some time on this, and that you take 5-10 minutes and talk with your group. So maybe Miss Naylor, you could pause the video right now to make sure that they have about 5 or 10 minutes to come up with, as a group, 5 things that they'll record in their notebook. Okay. All right. You should have at this point have, as a group, decided your 5 things. And now under that, I want you to make a T-chart like this. And you're going to have renewable on one side and non-renewable on the other side. And you are going to get one of the plastic trays that are around the room. I tried to space them out so it's easy to access them. And you're just going to sort them into renewable or non-renewable. So I want you to sort them as a group of 2, like a table group of 2. There should be enough trays for every group of 2. And then write down in your notebook what you put for renewable and what you put for non-renewable. And there are 10 items that know that the tray itself is item number 10, plastic. And so I want you to have 10 things written down in these 2 sections. After you have sorted those, I want you to come up with why you sorted them the way you did. Why did you put the items that you put under renewable, and why did you put the other items under non-renewable? What did you use to define renewable and non-renewable? And I want you to write this out, and we'll discuss what we came up with as groups, and we will refine our definition to make sure that we have the right way to separate them out. Please don't look this up. I want you to talk to each other and use your prior knowledge to come up with what is renewable, what is non-renewable, and you're going to place these items into those categories. Okay. So, Miss Naylor, if you would pause the video again and give them probably 10 minutes or so to make their list and then come up with their definition for renewable and non-renewable. All right, so you have made your T-chart of renewable, non-renewable. Now I just want to cover 3 terms, and then I'm going to skip over the rest because I want to make sure you have plenty of time to work on your city project. But this term here is part of the learning target, and I want to make sure we understand, because I think it is far and away one of the more important things that we will be discussing as we go into this unit. And a great way of thinking about this one, when it just came up in my first period class, was the Lorax. And so hopefully in the sort that you did earlier, when you sorted wood, you put it under renewable. Wood is a renewable resource. You might want to go back and change that. But so in the Lorax, and I can't remember the names of the trees or what they mean, and I know you guys all know the names. But when he first started making whatever it is, that thing that he made, that tree that he used was a sustainable resource. But by the end, it became unsustainable. So in your head right now, you should be thinking about, well, what changed? What happened that made that tree unsustainable? And hopefully you'll remember that in the beginning, he chopped down a tree with an axe and he made whatever that thing it was that he made. And then towards the end, he got his whole family involved and they used big machines and they were hacking trees down at a super fast rate. So sustainable is this idea of being able to maintain a certain rate or level of using a resource without fear of it running out. So something that is sustainable is something that you can keep on using at the same rate without fear of it running out. And in the Lorax, they ran out of trees, right? And so they ran out of trees because they were hacking them down at a rate that way surpassed nature's ability to regrow. Okay. Then as we get to reusable and recyclable, I'll come to energy later. I have these 2 pictures here, which are a great way of like thinking about the difference between what's reusable and what's recyclable. Okay. So here we've got a picture of 2-liter bottles that are the top's cut off, filled with water, and they're stuck in the ground so we can water over time the plants. And here we have this, and it was made in England. I used to be a car tire, and that is been reprocessed, repurposed into a pencil bag. So this one is reusing and this one is recycling. And so reusable is to use it again without changing what it is. You just kind of use it like a reusable water bottle or something like that. Whereas recyclable involves energy. It's got to be reprocessed. And so it's critical that you have this idea that when you recycle, you need to use energy to recycle. And a lot of people say that recycling is more energy intensive than it would be to just get the resource out of the ground through mining than it is to recycle, to gather all the stuff up, process it, and reform it into a new product actually takes more energy. And so that's something you have to kind of consider, that recycling does take a lot of energy. But the other part of that is that recycling makes things more sustainable, that if we can kind of keep on using that same, what turns out to often be a non-renewable resource, we can extend how long it's going to last for us. So recycling, I do think, is going to have to be a really important part of making things more sustainable. Okay. And we'll talk more about this when I return. But that's it for the notes for right now. And I'm going to skip fast past all this and we'll cover it later. And then getting to the slideshow template. So I've posted in and I'm going to show you now. I kind of skipped over this. So I'm going to show you this right now. I posted the answers to the Global Wins quiz. Sorry, I skipped over that. But that's where all the answers, there's a video of me going over the answers to the Global Wins quiz. So please check that out. Whatever questions you missed, you can kind of go to and see that. And then the retake will be available today, going all next week. So if you want to wait until I've had a chance to talk to you, go ahead and wait. You'll have all next week to do that. And then coming into the City Climate Project, if I click on that, it's going to take you here, and the City Climate Project template is right here. I'm going to show you mine, but this is what you would fill in right here. Okay. And so now I've got lost, of course. Maybe I'll just go through this way. Sorry. Now I'm getting all lost. Coming up here, this is the gosh, I'm going to have to edit this. This is the slideshow that I put together. Okay. And so right here is my first slide, and it tells you in the notes at the bottom what needs to be in there. If yours don't show up, I had somebody that couldn't see them. You can move this up and down so to access the speaker notes. And so it tells you what needs to be in there. But basically, you need the city name, a picture, and your name. That's 3 points right there. Then you go to the next slide. It tells you what needs to be in there. And you can see that when I did mine, it's not really a bullet format, but it's not written out, right? So when you're making your slideshow, you want limited information, big pictures that you can use to explain. And I'll go over my video with you next time. But as I go through, kind of having a picture that pertains to what the title of that slide is. So looking at latitude, got a picture for latitude that I can then use to explain. And then I'll talk about the latitude of my city and how it affects my city. And that kind of goes forth for every single slide and one thing I will say, this one, where is it? Climate change, you will not do this slide right here. So it says this is not in your presentation. So you can delete this slide. It is in the template, but just delete it. You're not going to do this one. You will, however, have your sources listed in APA format. Okay. So this is my slideshow. And again, this is the template that you would fill in. And it kind of has all the missing information that you'll just kind of put in there. And again, at the bottom, it tells you in the speaker notes what needs to be there. And if you want to kind of lift that up, you can get a better view of that. Okay. So at this point, I'm going to give you the rest of the time to work on your template. I would say it is a better idea to complete your notes first. And then just transfer that information into the template. But it is completely up to you how you want to go forward. And then next class on Monday, I will go over with you how to make the video. We will do a quick thing about the eclipse that's happening on Monday. But it's not going to be a large, but it's only a 60% or so totality here in Denver. So we'll go check it out. But most of the time we'll be going over the video and going forward on the resources. So hope you have a great day, get a lot done, and I will talk to you soon.